嗨，大家好，这里是大波胡的波胡。在太平洋时间3月23日上午，北京时间3月23日后半夜，微软模拟飞行官方举行了新一场在线 QA 直播。本次直播侧重于解答玩家疑问，期间穿插着透露了未来几个月的开发计划。在本期节目中，大波胡会先对此次直播的内容进行简要总结，之后是本次直播的全程转播回放。转播过程中，大波胡有对一些要点进行实时翻译，感兴趣的飞友们可以看到最后。另外，大波胡也会在近期制作一段摩飞新闻节目，来对今天公布的所有新内容进行系统性的总结，还请关注频道，以便第一时间获得更新。先做个总结，这次说实话没什么太多的新内容。新内容上最大的新内容是5月的世界更新，下次世界更新是6月。6月的世界更新是意大利和马耳他，然后这4月底的更新再次说了塞斯纳172的事儿，然后还会有这个 CF 就流体力学模拟的工具，这个工具会开放给所有 PC 版的玩家，所有 PC 玩家可以开启开发者模式，然后来看一下这架飞机的气动怎么样，是可以直接去看了。当然具体啥样到时候再看吧。然后新的软体模拟是上次直播里说到的那个，他们发现直升机的螺旋桨是可以弯曲的。然后为了这个事儿，他们也发现，就这个事情和机翼弯曲其实是一个物理原理。然后他们现在已经把这个系统做出来了，叫软体模拟，也是先给塞斯纳172去时装。然后未来几次系统更新里会时装新的大气模拟，这个也是上次系统更新里提到的那个关于阵风的事情，因为阵风模拟。他们发现阵风要想好，他们得模拟出来。要模拟阵风呢，需要从温度和气压角度去进行模拟。但是这个只要一做出来，那影响的不只是阵风了，就是关于空气上所有的什么气阻啊、什么风啊，全能再模拟出来，是这个问题。然后这个估计今年反正陆续的会更新很多东西进去，就是空气。尤其是山区内的气动影响会很大。然后其他的是那个 Xbox 那个 WebAssembly 的事情，目前来看4月底可能赶不上。当然他们也很担心这个事情，因为这个问题不解决的话，很多大飞机，比如像 PMDG 的737之类的是上不了 Xbox 的，他们肯定是想解决。VR 他们提到有10%的玩家只飞 VR， 但现在 VR 的问题挺多的，他们是想找一个时机统一去修正。Direct Storage 是前2天 PC 版就是 Windows 10和 Windows 11刚更新的系统级功能，但是他们现在说还在调研相关的东西。剩下飞机，之前官方卖的几款飞机，像荣52啊，像 Fokker 7，像那个还有哪家？主要是荣52和 Fokker 7，他们明天会更新一批东西，比如荣52能开门了之类的，当然气动也会更新不少。然后下一款著名飞行器是4月26号会更新的 GB-R2 和 R3， 也是 Caronado 来做。安2官方说了一下，就是之前不是提到一直还在跟安东诺夫进行谈判吗？其实安2当时基本上就剩签字了，结果乌克兰局势突变就没成。ATR 还在做，所以还在等。然后剩下都是一些问题，有一些问题比较有意思，比如说有人问市场里能不能加个试用。官方表示，因为今年工作重点的问题，他们也想加，但是明年再说吧。其他的 对，还有一个 F18的改进。F18是他们找了个真的飞行员来做测试，是找了一个还是找几个就忘了。他们收集了不少数据，在5月底会统一会进行一次修正。其他，然后 DLSS 正在做了，其他的就没啥了。我会在近期跟以往一样，再做个视频进行一次深入总结。这个还请各位关注频道，第一时间获得更新。不过今天好像真卫生没什么太值得讲的东西，感觉是。
This stream is cleared for takeoff. Hi, happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome.
这次直播就跟以前的 QA 转播一样，整个的录像我也会放出来。所以那 Mr. K， 如果你想再回看的话，明天应该是能回放，应该是在我频道里出现的。
So we do brief introductions. Jorg, welcome in. We are so happy to have you again. How are you?
Good to be here. Yes, we're looking forward to it. Hi to Frankfurt. I just saw that. I was born there.
Nice.
海客光影。长途飞行航线错乱是因为 UTF-8 的那个 Unicode 的语言问题。我频道里最新有2个最新的视频是讲这个事情的，你可以看一眼。
Nobody knows the place. It's sure they were Smoltonian friends.
Nice. Okay.
Nice to be here.
Absolutely, and this is our March Q&A. Our last one was at the very beginning of March, but we'll consider that our February Q&A. We're really excited to be here today. We have a lot to cover, a lot we want to talk about. So we'll go ahead and get started. And as a reminder for you chat, we have changed the format a little bit where there's going to be 3 different Q&A sessions instead of one at the end. So there'll be plenty of chances to ask questions and get some answers. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'll kick it off to you, Jorg, first to talk a little bit more about Xbox Cloud Gaming that came out recently.
I actually wanted to say, first off, I want to say sorry.
又说句游戏。
There was a video that just came in. We wanted to show you latest and greatest. We have a ton of videos, so it should be fun. Yeah, Xbox Cloud Gaming. We talked about it last time, and I don't know if you tried it. I personally think it's
这广告我觉得可以，整部游戏我玩起来感觉都很爽的。
We have to celebrate something. We are breaking records again. We have seen the highest number of users in any month since I think playing any flight sim ever. And then the really good news is 80% of the people who try it on Xbox Cloud Gaming are brand new to the hobby. So we have new people looking at flight simming for the first time, and you know.
云游戏上线后，玩家数又破纪录，然后80%的玩家尝试过云游戏。
Different devices. There's going to be different controllers. So it's really great.
另外讲明白一点，微软云游戏是整个一个订阅服务，你不只是能玩模拟飞行的，啥都能玩，这才是最爽的。
That's fantastic. Yes. Reminders, we're going to get new people into the community. Be kind, be helpful.
比如说拿手机玩 Forza 这种事情。
Thanks, Jorg.
你懂的。
And now let's do a couple follow-up questions from the last dev Q&A because there's definitely a few things we wanted to clarify and go over quickly. The first one being that vegetation slider that we mentioned. We know it's been on that feedback snapshot. And Seb, you talked about it a little bit last time, but I know there's some clarifying things you wanted to add to this, looking into it further.
Yes, exactly. So
这个植被这个条的问题，我之前测试过，我忘了哪个视频里我测试过。其实就是现在在他说的肯定我知道啥意思，就是现在游戏里有一个专门的植被选项，是什么 low、mid、high、ultra 那个选项还记得吧？那个选项实际影响的是植被渲染距离。然后玩家们一直问的是我能不能有一个条来调这个植被渲染距离，但问题是游戏内现在这个选项存在，只不过通过那个方式调可能跟玩家的这个理解方式对不上，一直是这个交流上的问题。然后Sebastian 他一直没理解问题啥意思，但是现在来看他明白到底问的是啥了，那就好说。
They are sort of a hybrid quality.
就是如果各位看，如果那个观众朋友有哪位观众确实想调直倍渲染距离的话，现在游戏里的那个直倍选项就是渲染距离，你可以直接去调，就是往下拉，选项级别越低，渲染距离越低，就这么个意思。他现在演示的就是这个样子。
So here I'm doing the same thing again. So by the way, I'm in low graphic settings. So I chose low graphic setting and I moved the trees to ultra.
所以有谁想调直倍渲染距离的，现在就可以调，不用的更新。就这个问题其实不是问题。
So now I'm switching to.
另外现在演示的这样就是。你这个直倍的这个选项其实是跟 LOD 挂钩的。你这个直倍，比如说你 low， 就相当于是你 LOD 的10%，是这么算出来的。但总体来说，你想调距离的话，直接把直倍的选项往下调就行。它现在画面上的那个，它通过开发者模式打开一个特殊的开关，现在红色的是树木，是直倍。它通过这个方式来给你看得更清楚一点。
And make everything low, right? If you want to have everything else on low, then only the trees are going to be at the highest.
然后通过这个也能说，就是其他的 LOD 下面那好几个选项都是这个意思，都是管的是距离，而不是渲染精度。比如说你想直倍渲染的特别远，但是建筑物渲染的很近，你可以专门这么去改的。
And yeah, and this little window is really nice because people who have questions, issues, feedback to make on trees can look at this. So
是有关，但你可以这么理解啊，它影响直接是密度。你如果这么说，那可能更精确一点。
We added information on distance. We added the little debug window, and if people have further questions, feedback, they can just use that tool to basically send us information.
相当于是距离加密度两个同时影响。
How the distance works because it's latitude dependent.
其实你可以，如果看 QA 直播看得多的话，其实这个问题从去年就开始问，一直就是其实 Sebastian 他一直没理解到底问的是啥，因为这东西一直在游戏里。现在他终于明白，跟玩家之间其实是一个交流的不畅，就是可能双方理解都没理解到点上，他这次来把这事情说清楚，就这么个意思。
LOD, but we've got some restrictions regarding trees on LOD lower than 14.
这段没什么营养，就是把之前一直没说清楚的一个问题给说明白了，就这个意思。
The ultra tree setting, which is the largest distance, basically goes as far as we have data, right? So if you have
但这是说明白之后，其实很多人也有自己想法了，比如说刚才我说的，你想直倍渲染的很远，但是建筑物渲染的很近啊，你是可以就这么针对性去调整了。
And in order to put trees somewhere, we need to have the data to put the trees. And the other options mean, I don't know, how far am I displaying buildings, how far am I displaying grass, bushes, textures, whatever. But the terrain LOD is really how far I'm pulling down data. And so the tree distance slider allows basically to go between 4 kilometers and
这玩意儿说实话吃 CPU 啊。
And the highest we have currently is 21.
这玩意儿你这么一看，你是很希望它是虚幻五啊。虚幻五的那个 Nonet 处理这个玩意儿太猛了，但是现在模拟飞行这个引擎没有那个东西。对 LOD 的处理还是很低级的。
We need to know if there's a forest, so that's the forest mask. We need to know if there's a road or a building to take away the.
然后现在说的是直倍渲染的一些底层细节，这我就先不翻译了。如果有营养的话，之后会在视频里我会提到。
Thank you so much. All right, the next follow-up we have pass on to you.
哦，对，那个忘了谁是 ATI 红色小队是吧？他说过那个。
Yeah, I heard about that. So basically,
前2周有个更新，但不知道是啥。
Two things. We just one thing on the entitlement side, which is basically invisible to most people. It wasn't supposed to be a big deal at all. Somehow it ended up being 8 gigabytes or so, and the reason for that was not because we had a massive amount of data. It's we switched build machines. and the build machine basically has a different timestamp, and then due to the timestamp, you get a better size. But in the end, so there is no mystery here really. But in the end, I got that loud and clear from Jane and from Sean from the community side. We will be even more verbose. Even when we do like a little tweak, we'll tell you what it is. So there's a mystery because there really wasn't one.
就是如果有人说到前2天有更新的话，那个更新其实啥都没改，就是他们内部的工具可能出了一些工具上的这个打包的运行的一些问题，他们内部发现这个问题了，他们会之后会解决，但是没有什么新内容，就是一个打出来的包是被识别成更新包的这么意思。
So this one is fixed and it's going to be published with the next Steam updates.
如果各位遇到有些鼠标操作上的问题的话，下次系统更新就是4月底的更新会修正。
Okay, Sim Update 9.
Yes.
Next month.
Next month.
主要是用现代化仪表操作的模式，有一些问题会出现。比如说你摁住了一个旋钮，然后你想你想拉，你比如摁住了摁中键，这个时候视角会扯淡的，反正扯淡的事情，就这个问题。
So here we've got an issue because when you're selecting copy views or some kind of input, we are introducing some context and there's a collision there. So it needs to be rethought, and we think that we will bring that for the next Steam update. And we'll try not to miss the date. That would be at the end of July. What we call Steam update 10. Mid-July to the end of July.
Okay, thank you so much.
另外有一些涉及到一些3D 碰撞的问题的跟鼠标相关的修正，还在系统更新实弹里面会有。
Yeah, so this is last time we talked about cloud streaming. That was actually the first surprise, and then we had announced that Iberia is coming. It was planned for yesterday, but honestly, we saw that the plane crashed in China. I think I don't know how you see the interaction between simming and aviation. We think there's a connection, so we didn't feel like it was right.
世界更新延期是因为官方这个觉得东航空难的那一天再发更新不合适，这么个意思。
But at least today we'll show you a tease, so you can at least see the trailer. And you can't see the whole trailer, otherwise PR will kill me. But Jane, if you just want to run.
Sure.
一个小预告片，完整预告片今天不会放，这是一个一小段。对，今天下午5点。
Oh, sorry, I pressed a button. Restart.
西班牙、葡萄牙、直布罗陀、安多拉。直布罗陀不是做过吗？怎么又更新了？哦，对，直播他是说更新直布罗陀全境是吗？Madrid， 西班牙更新的不少啊。巴塞罗那不是已经有了吗？怎么还更新？安多拉具体在哪儿？我真不知道。
All right, yes, we faded out right there.
全是西班牙、葡萄牙。
Tomorrow, I think it's a really nice update. So you saw Gaia did a great job with new POIs. We have like 99.
不知道葡萄牙海外那几个岛会不会更新？其实我更关注那几个。但今天就知道，今天下午5点会，就北京时间今天下午5点会正式更新。
We have new dam, new aerials. And then obviously missions again, bush trips, landing challenges, and discovery flights. Really nice celebration of Iberia, and I'm glad somebody said Andorra, go Andorra.
Yes.
Anyways, so coming tomorrow.
Yep. And an announcement.
碎罗家乡是那个是那个岛叫啥来着？刚在嘴边呢。世界更新9是意大利和马耳他。
Italy and Malta.
意大利全境翻新。哦，对，马德拉的那个机场，我做过视频的，虽然是去年了，那个做的比较早的。
It's going to be 8,000 square kilometers of photogrammetry, which is the biggest so far was Australia with 6,800. So we keep ratcheting this up. The Bing team did a great job.
8000平米的照片测绘。
That Gaia is making. I just picked a few, starting in the north. I mean, if you've been to Italy, it's a beautiful country. So I think it's going to be just great.
意大利完了之后，整个西欧是更新完了吧？西欧就没有没更新的了吧？
Coming from Bing, which is great. We have worked with almost
菲律宾和印尼估计肯定会更新，那两个更新地貌的话会改很多，那俩估计会更新。
And it's coming to you in mid-May.
Fantastic. Thank you. You're really excited about that. Let's go on to
印度就选，因为印度、大陆、俄罗斯这仨地方其实政治压力都挺大的，但中亚那几个我估计能更新上去。
How does internal testing work at Asobo? Does Asobo have dedicated full-time Q&A personnel? Is testing done on what are the requirements for a build to
问Asobo的 QA 问题。
That offers to Marcial for the Asobo side.
Okay, so yes, we do have a test team, obviously.
新加坡就一个城啊，说更新就更新的事儿。
The process it will be like a rocket with several stages. And the first one is obviously Asobo, and we are here to
这段是有人问这个 Asobo 内部的 QA 流程是啥样的。这个先生他说，如果有什么营养的话，我在之后的视频里会具体说出来。
And the last stage of the rocket would be the certification that is happening on the very last end of the process for being sure that the builds are compliant with the requirements for Xbox, for instance. So what we are doing here at Asobo, we've got the team is split in several parts. I will start with the first part, which is the build and release management. So these guys, they are creating the packages, they are creating the executable, and they are making sure that it's working on every single platform. So
QA 指的是软件开发流程里的一个环节。 然后你项目越大 ，QA 越重要。
Team of 5, and after that we've got a team of around 15 people to test the content. So the very first content we've got.
然后 WYG 1985，你问的这个是啥？没看懂。
Feature. Everything including UI, UX, saves, selections, everything like that. We've got a team of 5.
我是软件开发行业的，所以我就先跟。 我估计很多人应该也不大清楚，就是 QA 是软件开发行业的最后一个流程。说比较烂的话，就是他们是测试员，但他们的工作很重要一点就是你这个软件产品的质量是他们把关的。然后你的项目越大 ，QA 的职责就越大。 然后现在模拟飞行这个状态，大家也看见了，就是这么多 bug， 很大原因是 QA 能力不足 ，QA 能力或者 QA 资源不足。因为从流程来说，他们必须测试软件的每一个环节，但是这个项目太大了，他测试不到的。 是这个有这个问题在里面。老式仪表有很多呀，比如像什么塞斯纳952之类的，还有那个上代理的那个双水塔也是老式仪表。基本上现在他名字应该念不念？叫马修，他现在说的基本就是也是在解释整个 QA 流程的事情。不过刚才我说那些应该
outputs.
对软件行业不了解的朋友，应该也能大概能知道个意思。
Here it's that we've got several headsets, we've got several OTAs and yokes, and this is distributed to the whole team, and we have some coordinators that make sure that.
哦，他提到一点，他给 QA 部门的每一个人都买了外设，我操，
so much hardware.
这成本有点大。
And I will conclude the description of the team by talking about the people which are reading the live community, that are collecting all the feedbacks we are having. It's super important part here because as you.
那总的来说就是，如果你对现在对模拟飞行这个什么闪退啊、什么各种 bug 不满意的话，你最应该喷的是他们的 QA 部门以及产品经理。这两 QA 部门和产品经理这两批人是该喷的，但是他们的开发人员是最不该喷的。就是以软件行业内部人员来讲，我是这个看法。哎呀，像什么152啊，152是那个仪表的，然后典藏版里那个172也是仪表的。
So if you do the math, it's more than 20 people which are working on the quality assurance side. I think I've been pretty precise.
Nice.
I hope I'm not forgetting someone.
Yeah,
I mean, I can add to the other side, which is the Microsoft side. There's about 50 folks testing in various ways, or testing or interacting with bugs.
微软内部是有50个人在做测试，然后 Asobo 那边还有好几十个人，加一块快100个人是在做测试，但是我们能看出来还是不够。
We have, for example, 10 people, by and large, sometimes more dedicated to the marketplace, because we're trying to make sure that the things in the marketplace actually do work, at least inside the marketplace, and then we try to test the planes that they actually fly and whatnot, right? But what's interesting about that is the third parties have been so impressively creative, and the output is so huge that it's starting to actually, I wouldn't say worry me, but it's just recognize that there's already 1,000 add-ons, recognize that there's about 100 things coming out every week. It's kind of interesting. And then our team is growing. The development team is getting larger and larger, as you probably know. I think we are all up now, 250 probably, or something like this. And with that, there's just more and more surface area. And I think we need to go, in my mind, we need your help. Martial just said that. There is no way we can learn everything about everything, every single plane in the world, every airport. So we will really start to be more structured about getting flighting feedback and flighting feedback in specific areas.
现在提的这点就是，就刚才其实也是刚才我说的那点，就是你能明显感觉到，即便是近100人的测试团队，完全不够用。所以 York， 你先明白一点 ，York 他的在项目里的地位是他是项目领导，他向玩家表示，我们人数不够，我们不可能掌握所有的环节，所以相当于是如果有玩家发现的什么 bug 的话，先不要骂，建议如果有能力的话，向官方提一下，因为你遇到这个问题的可能真没有人遇到过。
Yes.
I forgot two members of the team, the two testers which are dedicated to the dev mode and the SDK.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Important. Thank you, Martial. I see a great question in chat. This one would probably be for Jorg. I know we just talked about Xbox Cloud Gaming. They're wondering about does the future hold HOTA support, mouse and keyboard, stuff like that? Do you have any details on that?
Oh man, so I put how do you call it? I put in my mouse.
问云游戏的键鼠支持的问题。
Something about yeah, mouse and keyboard are coming and all that stuff, and it's not officially committed to by the team. Look, cloud. There is a part of me that is convinced that cloud gaming is the future, simply because you can stream to anything.
如果玩过云游戏版的话，就先知道现在云游戏版只支持手柄，什么键鼠这都不支持。
And I know the team is delighted by how well the reception has been of Flight Sim, and that helps us, right? When we have specific requests, The things that we can control is, for example, touch and gyro. That's more on our side. Mouse keyboard is a platform thing, and then everything beyond.
他也提到键鼠支持，其实跟他们模拟飞行这边的团队没什么太大关系的，完全是 Xbox 那边的事情。但是他也提到，像之前说的，之后会支持什么手持设备的陀螺仪，那个是他们模拟飞行团队可以做出来的。所以键鼠支持完全还要靠 Xbox 那边看他们怎么做。如果这边只能说是给压力让他们赶紧做而已，只能到这个地步。这个大公司之间跨部门的事情，在大公司待过的应该都懂。SU9 是
Okay, so at least it doesn't have any theme, and so the stat we've got today was like we've got more than 800 bug fixes. So sometimes very
4月底的更新还是倾向于修更多的 bug。
On the build notes, we've already have 150.
但也不那么说 ，Xbox 部门那边他们肯定也，他们既然是他们是卖 Game Pass， 他们是希望云游戏能更好，所以像 Yorgo 这边提的你尤其是键鼠这个事情，其实是一个正向反馈，他们肯定是要做的。
So the CFD that we've shown last time, it's going to be introduced with the Cessna, and the Cessna will also have the benefit from the new propeller system.
对，然后那个塞斯纳172会更新螺旋桨和气动，不是什么更新塞斯纳172会更新螺旋桨和气流模拟。
On top of that, we've got a bunch of improvements, and it will be described into the video.
I think we'll show some of them here in a minute.
True. Yes.
Seth has made some videos. Oh yeah.
一会儿会展示一些4月底更新的一些内容。
To show you. Okay, thank you, Martial. All right, there's one bug fix question here I think we can answer. There was a bug that came out. Is there a fix coming for the jet engine sounds in the cockpit that was surfaced recently?
Yeah. So the answer is yes. In the next sim update.
Yep, sim update 9.
中文他能说啥？4月底会更新中文，完了他能说啥？指望他们去说这些事情不现实。新的更新9啊，刚才说的同学来了。他给谁看啊？给你看。没意义，你这么想。
The last video is a teaser at what is partially sim update 9, but also coming after, right?
这是给第三方开发者用的，就是因为之前提过，下次更新会时装新的气流模拟的整个模拟系统。然后这个现在看到的这个画面是他们在开发者工具里面引入的，能让第三方开发者来快速接入这个系统的工具。4月底。
You can visualize, you can choose the different visualization modes on any plane that's out there, your plane, our planes.
然后也提到，就这个系统，所有玩家都可以调出来，就只要是 PC 版都可以能把这系统调出来。然后你可以看这个飞机的气动到底怎么样。你就是对于从我们玩家层面，我们可以直接看出来它气动是怎么模拟的了。用这个工具，这个工具是直接开放的，我们所有只要是 PC 版就可以开出来。
We only enable it once we have been able to fully test the aircraft with it, to make sure it really works on everywhere. You also see there's a ton of information in there.
就是对于如果你是坐飞机的、做机模的，可以拿这个系统去做机模；然后我们这种普通玩家可以拿这个系统去看它怎么模拟的。比如说你觉得系统差是吧？直接把工具一打开就知道它怎么系统差了。
The impact on temperature, right? And this is the kind of data.
然后右边看画面右边那密密麻麻的全是数据。如果你想看，你是可以去挖掘的，看着怎么模拟的。
And we can move to the next video.
这个之前很多画面大家都看，这是你的像是一些作用面的那个作用力，然后也是说这个也能开发给所有玩家了。
On the flight model has been improved, so the colors are better, the position of the vectors are better. So red basically means that the airflow is detached, so you have been stalled. So you see the force vectors going back when it stalls.
不，来看看你啥意思？
Be entirely tweaked in the flight model, right? Plane makers can now define how the forces move on the wing when the AOA changes and when it stalls. We can move to the next video. There's a new tool coming.
这是刚才是作用面的模拟工具更新，然后这个是关于重量的模拟工具更新。
For example, you can see
这两个更新都是针对第三方开发者的。
Pressure center, lift center, where basically the flight model aerodynamic forces are applied. So this has been cleaned up and made better, so that it's easier to understand.
韩寒，你要理解，刚才我说那些主要的意思就是，因为在之前这些开发者工具，你是在 PC 版可以开开发者模式，但这些东西你看不了，是锁着你没法看。然后刚才他们说那个第一个工具，就是在4月底之后，那个工具是所有玩家都可以直接把它打开了，是这个意思。你现在开发者模式，你想看这些东西你是看不了的，你必须得有这个飞机的源代码才能看出来。问题是我们没有，所以看不了。这是强化失速模拟的工具。
So we use that to improve the stall of the 172 when we moved it to the CFD. It really allows to so when you see on the vectors when the plane stalls, sometimes one wing stalls, sometimes the other wing stalls, sometimes everything stalls or in the middle. And this here is really the lift polar curve of the aircraft. But you can see the green is the whole aircraft. And blue is not very visible. Blue is the middle, and orange and yellow is the sides.
等172这个测试完成之后，估计游戏内的他们官方飞机肯定都会更新的。172这次更多的是拿来做测试用。
I put some rudder or all these things. So if you want to make sure your stall is behaving exactly like you want when you make a plane. So for example, usually stalls are different if you're full power. If you have flaps or not, if you're climbing, if you're depending on the speed, if you are flying in a curve. The stall is different in all these situations, and this debug really helps you understanding why and how the stall is happening, and to change it and make sure it's working correctly. So that's a new tool here in the plane making tools. On the next video.
软体模拟。
So this is a new effect which has been moved over.
这是一个新效果，之前没有。
We enabled it on the Cessna 172, and it's been added for the helicopters. So on helicopters, the rotors do what is called flapping, and flapping is really the blade which stores aerodynamic energy.
还记得上次说的，他们发现直升机的机翼要弯曲的事吗
？So the force vector system, which has been there before, if you enable.
然后之前上次他们说过，其实这个事儿跟机翼弯曲是一个玩意儿。就是从物理层面来讲是一个玩意儿，然后他们上次说完之后，这是他们已经做出来了，就是所有的作用面是可以弯曲的这么个模拟系统，他们叫软体 soft body 模拟。也就是4月底。172不只有螺旋桨，不只有气流，它的机翼也会真的弯了。当然172机翼弯的不会太大就是了。如果真把这个系统拉到客机上，那肯定影响会很大。
A little bit of lag in the inputs, a little bit less twitchiness on the plane. It feels globally a little bit heavier. A little bit less fast to respond, but as I said, it's very subtle on this aircraft. This can be enabled on the CFG of any plane. There's parameters to configure it. We use it on the 172, and just like the propeller system and everything.
其实客机那些很多手动调教的气动什么的，跟有很大一部分是调教是那方面的，因为机翼会弯。787很明显，787那机翼弯起来就跟鸟儿一样，就忽闪忽然的。
And I think the next one is
空气模拟。
Yeah, exactly. So this is something which is going to come out over the next few sim updates. So we have had a lot of feedback on turbulence, wind, updraft, downdraft, clouds. And so here you can
这是给主要目的是给那个滑翔机用了，但是更新完之后，整个大气的气流都会翻新，这个意思。
Forest is cold, so you can see where the air goes up, where it goes down, and this is simulated all around the aircraft. And it creates the turbulences, it creates the bumps.
简单来说是根据气压和温度，直接把这个风给模拟出来。
So this tool is not
这不能叫气流模拟，官方叫 air simulation， 直译的话叫空气模拟。
However, the effects, updraft, downdraft, these are the ones which are currently in the sim, right? That's it's just the tool allows us to visualize, and we're going to bring this here tool, which is going to be more, I would say, user-friendly. So just like, I don't know, like the ribbons which allow you to have a trajectory landing or whatever, the circuit around the airfield. There's going to be an option to enable
对温差风，但你这么想，这个系统我们现在水平翼可能关系不大，更多的是一些那个微观的这个风更精细了，但这个系统影响更大的还是滑翔机。来个风切变，然后再来个微暴流，直接把你拍下去是吧这个的系统出来之后，微暴流估计是能做出来的，但问题就是他们的气象数据能不能瞬间刷新出来，是这个问题了。
Sim Update 9 has this air like what you're seeing here, but you don't have the visualization yet. That's gonna come later. And
对这个关于侧风的事情，上一次说过。
How the airflow works.
就是侧风啊，一些上升气流什么的事儿，全是跟这完全是一个整体系统。
So on the if you go back on the window here, you can see the cost of it.
不是侧风，是阵风，不是侧风，是阵风，阵风。
So the I don't know if you can see it here. 180 microseconds, 160. It's the fifth line or something. So the CFD.
上次他们说过阵风效果不对，他们就决定要用温度和气压来模拟阵风，然后模拟完之后，其实就是这么个系统。
So that's 230 microseconds plus. And what we did is we optimized the rest of the flight model. And we gained exactly that. So it's neutral, right? It costs a little bit, and it's not a lot, right? It's maybe
然后你就这么想，这个新的气象系统和气流模拟以及软体模拟都是相关的。
I mean the impact on performance should be completely neutral.
Nice. Okay.
进度快是快，然后就一堆 bug。
In our session 2 Q&A here. Which is, will the new propeller simulation allow native VTOL?
迟到晚上好。
So the I'm gonna answer it this way. The new propeller simulation is compatible with the VTOL. So the whether you use a helicopter blade or a propeller for, like for example, an engine propeller, you can tilt it up, so you can make a VTOL. And the propeller blade, the new simulation,
这个现在是官方就说明了，就是已经做的那个螺旋桨模拟，因为是从物理层面上模拟的，所以直升机是能用，无论是水平的飞还是垂直的飞都可以用到。
It's compatible with it. If you want to make a VTOL, I think we're still limited to 4 engines or something like that. Most VTOLs have a lot more than 4 engines, so we're also gonna need to unlock the number of engines.
这个问题之前上次也提到，就是有人问这个有开发者问，现在 SDK 里把这个引擎数的上限给锁死了，能不能给开放？这也回答这个问题，因为很多垂直起降的飞机，好几十个螺旋桨在这转的这种事情。
But yeah, what we have is currently already compatible. I actually tried, right? When I did the very first helicopter tests, I took a plane.
比如说那个 Velocity 还记得吗？那个大号无人机。Velocity 如果接入螺旋桨模拟的话，可能飞行效果会好很多。他们内部测试是真是拿那个测的，只不过我们玩到那个版本还不是。
Subtle system which controls the spin, right, of the RPM, like if you want to turn this way or tilt or move up or just stabilize, it's all controlled by propeller RPM. And so that, of course, is something which is also needed to have a VTOL fly and be stable, right? You don't only need propellers.
Yep. Thank you so much, Seb. A chat question I saw earlier. Do we have an update, Jorg, on the short-term solution for the Xbox WASM issue?
就是 Xbox WebAssembly 的那个事情。
There you go.
I was always so fascinated by Seb.
那个问题实际影响的是像 DC6 现在 Xbox 还没恢复上架，是那个问题。
I think it's unclear yet if we can get this in the Sim Update 9. I think the more realistic.
4月底可能赶不上更新。
Which would be late July. We know it's not awesome and super fast, but we also need to test this. So I think there's lots of work being done. We think the solution will work, but we need to really be careful before we, because I think people have been waiting.
左边那位在微软西雅图总部，右边那俩在法国。
That's where I think we are.
Yes, exactly, and it's also, another layer of loading things.
现在说这个，我再讲一遍，就是直接表象是 Xbox 上 DC6 一直在下架，还没恢复上架。但这个影响的是所有用到 WebAssembly 技术的机模在 Xbox 上都会出这个问题。所以现在眼下的直接的影响的就是 PMDG 的 T37和 DCD Science 的协和，这俩在 Xbox 上不了。他们肯定是要修，但是他们要想的正在做那个方式，4月是赶不上的。现在是说的这个事情。
Yeah, we just talked about this. I mean,
VR 的问题
came up last time, and we had planned on talking about VR last time, and I saw some chat comments that when are you guys talking about this? And it just frankly, we know 10% of you play pretty much exclusively VR.
有10%的玩家只飞 VR.
Close to one of you, like I play on different devices, but I play on my VR all the time, and we just need to dedicate the time. Like I'm sorry, there's a lot going on, but
737的 PC 版估计没问题，主要是 Xbox 版本。
I was actually just talking about this, so I think we're gonna sit down this week, next week, and talk this through. We have your feedback. We know what's important.
Yorgo 的意思就是我们会重视这个事情，我们要修正，就这么个意思。因为 VR 现在 VR 里问题不少。
It's Direct Storage API just got released.
Direct Storage 刚更新的玩意儿。
Yeah, I just looked into this because I honestly wasn't as aware of it as one might.
他们意思就是我们不知道这个事儿，你别问我。
I will do one more. I'm not sure if any of you three have this answer, but
I wanted to answer one question. We talked about the world update, and I was like, okay, I probably should have said that. Sure. The cities in Portugal, I'll tell you all the photogrammetry cities. It's Lisbon.
Okay.
I will butcher all these names. Barreiro, Cascais, Coimbra, that's in Portugal, and then Malaga and Bilbao in Spain.
Okay.
刚才那些是世界更新里的测绘城市。知道的都知道，不知道的听那名字也听不出来就是。
I know we discussed this in a Q&A.
Direct Storage 等吧。
But there's a black avionics bug on Xbox where the screens go black towards the end of the flight.
Xbox 玩家肯定发现飞320的时候很容易就黑屏的这个事情。
Yeah, I saw the comments.
Yeah, so the comments. I'm very sorry because I spent some time with the team to connect the status of the fact that the frame rate is going down on some configurations while flying, and I didn't ask the question on that, and I don't know the status right now. So I'm very sorry. I can't tell.
Okay.
I will try to bring more information during the next call.
Okay.
Next call, the next.
这事儿还在调查，如果在 Xbox 上遇到这个问题的玩家还得等。
Where we do the follow-ups from the last Q&A, we'll see if we can provide a.
当然，这个问题现在主要是在 Xbox 上了 ，PC 上基本没遇到过。
We'll move on. We still have another session for Q&As.
有里斯本，刚才说的第一个城市就是里斯本。
Let's talk about aircraft.
啊，新飞飞机，
Oh, right. Okay, so we didn't. So last time I think we went a little bit overboard and had too many.
现在里斯本还不是，下午就是了。
Any guests? Next time we'll probably have some guests again.
Mm-hmm.
So then the first slide, I don't know. I just put this together last night. I forget. I think.
荣52会更新。
So the first plane is Local Legend 1. There is going to be an update, and I screwed up the date. Look at this. Wonderful.
不是新飞机，老飞机更新。
It's coming tomorrow.
Okay.
Oliver, so our QA team and Oliver have literally read.
就之前官方发过的那几款收费飞机，问题不少，他们这次统一更新一遍，是这个意思。
So that's coming tomorrow.
Okay, exciting.
Then on the next one, and I think there's always a lag here. Yeah. So Local Legend 2, the Fokker F7. I think you heard that from us before. We didn't feel great. The plane wasn't quite as put together as we wanted it to be.
对，说是能开门。
It's been working since release.
但其他的像气动之类的修缮估计还有不少。
Literally hundreds of things. We thought we might get it done by tomorrow, but honestly, there's no real rush. We want to get it right. So I think it's either going to be next week or in the first few weeks of April. But
172两个版本啊，那个普通版里那架是 G1000 的，点3版里还有一架是普通仪表的。
Local
Legend 3. So we talked about this last time, the Dornier Doge. So we always launch on.
这架是明天不是今天就会上架开卖啊！这架神奇的玩意儿，1920几年的玩意儿的老爷机。
This is a screenshot. There's a little trailer. It's not done.
Dornier Wall.
As raw as it is, so we will not publish this, but just for you guys, here it is.
现在是那个当地传奇那几架都挺老的呀。真是船啊！这也太像船了，这个。当然，20几年飞机长啥样，大家还不知道呢，也不能评价这个事情。喂，还有奖？看意思是飞不高，只能在低空飞。这种飞机属于博物馆，当然那个在德国还有阿根廷两个地方有个博物馆，有真的飞机展出的。如果各位在附近想去的话，也可以去看一看。
Amundsen flew with it to the North Pole in 26, and which is, by the way, why it's associated with World Update 8. Roman Franco flew from Spain to Argentina with the Plus Ultra.
哎，这架飞机飞过南极。
Now flew to the through the North Atlantic. He actually used the same plane as Amundsen did. And then he flew around the world in
然后这架飞机最重要的一个创举是从西班牙飞阿根廷，人类史上第一次从西班牙往南美飞的这个跨大西洋飞行，就是这架。
dedicated themselves to researching this plane for the last 70 years. He has an amazing collection of
对，敞篷飞南极动词。
Everything you could possibly read. We had support from Donier.
不过你想，那个上次那架福克也飞过南极，那架也没有什么暖气保暖，那架都不密封的。
To make contact with the museum in Luzon, where the Plus Ultra is. We actually went to the Plus Ultra just last month to scan it. And
对，刚才提到那阿根廷博物馆里有一架，他们真去了。
And somebody said, "Is every local legend German?" Like. The Fokker isn't German. Just wanted to say that. Sounds German. He lived in Germany for a while, but the guy was actually not. He's Dutch. But anyways, and this, I think we're going to take a break from German planes just because we say that. But I love this plane. I hope you will too. And it's coming next week.
Speaking of planes coming.
啊，安2哪儿去了？对吧？
Yes. So this comes out in April 26th together with Sim Update 9, and it is not a German plane. It's a Granville GB, and so it's made by Coronado, and I think you all
又是 Coronado 做的，这是啥呀？看不出来。
And it's not just one of them. If you go to the next slide, it's two of them. So it's Model Z and the R2. I think these are the cutest, funnest, most.
这啥飞机？有哪位观众知道？我没听出来。
And I think we're going to have a great time flying them in April.
Mm-hmm. So that being said, we have an update to the roadmap.
roadmap 肯定有这个名字。
Right. Oh yeah, our calendar, our advanced calendar.
没这飞机名字。
Animation.
哦 ，GB 23和22，好，多谢。
Oh man. Sorry, I don't have it on the right
多谢
view, Your nice animations. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, if you would have animations, you would see that basically the May. So first off, I have to say, Jorgi screwed up. I had World Update. I think 7 through or 8 through 17 or something.
Mm-hmm.
That V was not supposed to be there. This year it's 7. It's World Update 7 through 12 because there's not enough months in the year.
Yeah.
But basically in May we now have Italy established, and then we showed the famous flyer too with GBs.
Nice.
有着安2现在还是在无限期的跳票。
Awesome. Thank you for the aircraft update. We're all pretty stoked about everything coming.
Maybe I'm only saying because I saw that somewhere. So some people were. So I want to give you an update. So the Antonov.
安2的问题。
It's the plane is essentially done. We were days away, literally a day away, 2 days away from finishing the license with Antonov.
当时情况是基本就剩最后签字了，但出了那个事儿。
So we currently are sitting here with a finished plane, and we're waiting for Antonov to, essentially re-emerge after the chaos obviously has subsided. So that's that. And then the ATR, Hans he's actually working directly with the Sobo on the ATR 42 and 72-600, making great progress. And I think we'll have him here maybe next time.
ATR 还在做，想飞的朋友可以再等等。但安2也没说到底什么状态。
Okay, great. Let's move on to our last Q&A here. I see some questions in the chat, so we'll ask some of those. The first question I have, though, I got from the forums, which is, would we ever have the possibility of having some sort of demo area in the marketplace for add-ons that people want to buy?
市场里要不要加一个试用？
So it's interesting. So, as I said a few times, we've been pretty overwhelmed by the amount of add-ons that third parties have generated. It's over 1,000. We know there's another 1,000 pretty much already done. So we're like, okay, we're in the thousands of things. Interesting. Our team is now, I think, 8 dedicated people, because we have to ingest all the content. And when you sometimes say, hey, where's all the stuff? well, we need to ingest it. And we talked to the Minecraft team, which is sort of the closest equivalent we have. And they have really good tools to automate this. They have sort of I think their goal is to have 0 humans touching the actual ingestion. So I'm completely up for doing a demo area, but what I think you really want is us to ingest it so you can go play it, not via the marketplace and not via some community folder. So if we would do it right now, it actually would delay all other publications, and I don't think that's the right thing. I think the third parties would be very unhappy with us if we were to do this, but I think I want to. So it might take us till next year. It will take a while. We need to. We are writing tools. We've hired programmers to write tools.
基本就是现在他们的这个开发流程决定，暂时做不了，他们很想做，明年再说吧，基本这个意思。
So much stuff is coming, but there's sort of pipeline things we need to sort out.
Great. Okay, thanks, Jorg. And I see this.
他们和那个 Minecraft 我的世界的团队的沟通过，这玩意儿怎么做
？Bush trips. So we know there's been some issues with bush trips, definitely since Sim Update 5. So do
不点名喷 Sim 那个 Captain Sim 是吧
？Yes, we have scheduled some bush trip improvement for Sim Update 10. The one that will be published in late July. So it includes some improvements in the experience itself, but also on the UI side. That we have problems on both sides.
非 Bush Trip 的是那个6月底会更新一轮，现在有不少问题，6月底会统一更新一下。
With those types of plans coming out, are there going to be improvements to the water physics? Like, can you start the donier like in the
水面效果问题。
Do we have plans for that down the line?
里面现在太多水上级了。
Seb, do you have any answer on that? I don't think we have.
There's already a few water planes at the Sim, so nothing special planned for the Donier release. It's going to have the same water plane physics than every other water plane. And then are we going to improve water physics in the future? I mean, maybe they're looking on the backlog and how high it is on the priorities.
Yep.
暂时没做，就是水面效果还是老的。
Here's a question about another possible slider or toggle. Would there be a possibility of getting a toggle for sharpening or unsharpening options in the?
主持人掉线了。那个飞机选择界面肯定是要改一改的，现在飞机太多了。
Oh, hello, I lost everyone.
Hello.
Okay, I'm back.
Jen?
Are you back? Sorry. Apologies, chat.
That's
My audio system died. It's back. I think I was mid-question there, so I'm just gonna go ahead and repeat the question. Apologies.
Please.
So could there be a sharpen option in the menu if you want to unsharpen or sharpen your graphics? For example, 1080p monitors, they say has an over-sharpened look. Wondering if that could be a toggle.
锐化模式，这个模式有 DLSS 这个问题就不是问题了。
I know we have a sharpening post-process filter. Which is, I think, actually linked with the TAA.
对，然后这个跟 TAA 开的 TAA， 然后把渲染缩放往上调，也能达到这个效果，只不过太吃显卡了。
We should add that to the list and see when we can do it. It's I think it was maybe in the options file at some point, maybe or maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. I've definitely.
但这个问题官方也不好说，因为这个问题说实话问的不在点上。因为现代 3D 渲染来说，那个锐化可能跟我们处理图像是处理单照片时这个锐化是两个概念。
It's about the water physics. Is the new CFD system usable on water physics?
So CFDs can do water or can do air, but is it usable right now? I mean, not yet, or not. not a, I mean, that's something.
新的流体力学模拟能不能影响水面？理论可以，但现在不，还不行。
At some point, probably, but right now not yet.
Okay. Great question here. Would it be possible to get a more complex
对你锐化3D 概念里的锐化跟图像锐化两个概念，这个问题差太远了。
So we are working on that. Should come with good news about this subject. Better news, at least.
All right.
Let's just say a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think stability has been a focus, right? I think you probably saw that. We see pretty significantly increased stability improvements on Sim Update 8. Sim Update 9 is also looking at this, and there is.
官方发话了，下次4月底的更新，重点的一个点是优化稳定性。
I don't know if we had the time to include everything we wanted to bring, but to make sure of that.
Yep. Question from Homie: How's the glider development going?
滑翔机现在怎么样了
Good.
Fine.
We built the first few gliders.
Nice. Okay.
Seb can speak to Seb's. Do you want to speak to this?
So I can already say what is in Sim Update 10. We fixed the negative flaps. So there's one plane which already has that out there. It's the Flight Design CTSL or CTSL. I don't know what the exact name is. It has a flap position which is default at 0, but you can go to -10, I think, or something. Which is something which
6月会更新副建议，
which is almost sort of like a spoiler.
有飞机能干那个事儿。
And that did not work correctly, so that's been fixed in Simulator 10. What I just showed at the end of my video series, the whole draft simulation, that's something which is basically also being worked on because it's important for any plane because it's nice to have bumps and everything, but it's even more important for gliders, right? Because you want to have a
不，
updraft
副建议是干嘛用的？
go get thermals and go up. That's a thing which been moving forward.
看他的意思就是现在副建议有的飞机是有，但是游戏里不支持。
Other people can comment on other features.
Earlier, someone was asking, do you think we'll have working title back on soon for kind of an update on what they're
working
on
title
right
的是
now?
Yeah, so we talked about this, at least between us. I think working title, we want something to be fully integrated and done, right? It's easy. We don't want to go into the show roadmaps all the time. You know, people show roadmaps a lot. It's more important what's in the software. So we are we're going to have Matt on once we actually have it in the sim, and then we can talk about the next stuff. They're working on a ton. The team is grown, I can say that much, which is good. But let's just get one thing complete before we start talking about more stuff.
Working title 之前给 Working title 团队放的卫星有点多，但现在基本就是合作还在继续，工作还在进行，只能这么说。
Liner or premium deluxe planes in general.
Yes.
点3班那些飞机。
That's the case. Do we know when? Are they just going to be continuous or
No,
big updates?
it's probably going to be a specific moment in time.
Okay.
Probably later or late this year.
Awesome.
The CJ, I mean, yeah, it's a variety of planes that are being touched.
点3班的飞机现在问题很多。
Will snow ever be removed from runways of large international airports? In real life, runways are
机场跑道的雪的问题。
That's difficult.
They are trying, but sometimes it snows on runways too. No, I think currently the snow is entirely procedural, and depending on the runway, if it's too thick, it even holds on runways. It is supposed to be.
知道那个说的好像不是那个 slap， 是有的飞机真能开出副建议来。他们刚才说的是那个。
We don't have a system which works. I mean, we have not tuned airport by airport. We did a global snow layer tuning, and some airports just have a lot more because it's the way the runway looks. Basically, what we did is we simulated that dark surfaces receive more heat from the sun and from the environment in general. So snow melts faster on dark surfaces. So airports.
哦，是吗？那就是我真不了解。
Sometimes because it's not tarmac but concrete or whatever, or just because the aerial is brighter, they will have more snow. So that's something we need to rework to get runways which are, I mean, completely without snow. But I would say that's really only true on large airports, right? I mean, on our small airfield, when it snows, they don't immediately remove the snow, or even not at all. So
yeah. And I guess they also applies there. Can we expect any fixes for frozen oceans, especially when live weather is on, for example, in Norway, where it wouldn't usually be frozen?
It's a feature that we haven't included.
水面被结冰这个事儿，上周直播的时候在飞冰岛发现了，现在呢是能把水面结冰模拟出来，但有时候不对。
No, on oceans it has that.
Oh, I missed this part. I'm sorry.
Rivers.
Yeah, it has to be cold, and I think there's a ice shelf or something data.
要知道多谢解惑，7874播音系统的这个还真不大清楚。
Greenland, because Norway, as that person said, it doesn't usually have a lot of ice, and so I didn't check Norway lately. I checked it on Greenland. And I don't know, now it's over probably anyway, but if there's a specific place, the issue with that is that it's very time dependent. On the live weather data we get, we need to wait until January, February to actually see or test it. I think there's still some, but if people can.
现在说这个水面结冰这个事儿，现在这个结冰效果也是演算出来的，所以有时候不准。但是他们即便做修改的话，他们也想找这个测试数据，也得找现实生活中去测试，所以有时候不好测试。说的是这个问题。
Yeah, they're saying the Norwegian fjords.
Okay, not in deep sea.
然后现在玩家反馈的是，现在很多挪威的地方已经解冻了，但是游戏里还在结冰。
Yeah. If you go north in the winter, it's frozen.
Okay, gotcha. So earlier we mentioned improvements coming to the FA-18. Just wondering if there's anything specific we could touch on. What types of improvements is coming to that plane?
I can list quite a few if you.
Yeah.
Go.
We were lucky to have feedback from actual pilots who have flown the thing. So the roll weights are now correct. So they're 220 something below 550 knots and 150 above. The thrust and whether you're in mill thrust or whether an afterburner has been corrected. The speeds are correct, so now you are.
跑到雪面那个事儿，其实也跟结冰那个事儿差不多，就是雪和冰都是模拟出来的，所以有时候跟现实生活中不一样。但是他们需要更多的测试数据，是这俩问题其实是一个问题。然后现在说的是，之前提到 F18会在5月份会更新 F18。现在说的是他们找了真的飞 F18 的飞行员来做测试，然后掌握了很多数据来调，就说了这么个事。
Lot of things, airspeed, NWS.
因为飞过那个 DCS 的玩家飞这边大黄蜂、超级大黄蜂，都笑话，这是什么鬼玩意儿？他们是真找了个真飞超级大黄蜂的人来做测试，然后掌握了很多数据，要修正。翻不了啊 ，DCS 那边没有啊，这是超级大黄蜂啊 ，DCS 那边不是。
Okay, very cool.
As far as I know, the movie is coming out in 2 months, so we're getting there.
Yeah. So it's an interesting question. Could we give insight on how we work as a team being in different countries and places and how we coordinate together?
如何跨国合作？因为他们一边在美国，一边在法国。
Is there a short answer?
Jörg is staying up very, very early.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
And sometimes we've got to stay very, very late in the night.
Yeah. Yeah. My day starts at 5 typically.
Sometimes
or earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good times. No, but I mean, think about it this way. There's really also a team around the world. But when you really think about, I mean, obviously it's always in France. That's the vast majority of the bulk of the development is there. There's Working Title is distributed, Gaia is distributed, all kinds of other people.
那你还不如说《战争雷霆》里的那个有人把真的坦克说明书给拿出来那个事儿。
We talk a lot on Teams and Discord.
哎，《战争雷霆》是坦克世界来着，反正有人没事儿就是有人在论坛上喷你这个坦克操作不对，然后结果把坦克说明书给搬出来了，但是那个是军事机密，他就给抓走了。
Absolutely. Another great question I saw: is there any more OSM OpenStreetMap data coming to the sim?
Yes. So Bing is integrating like crazy, and there's currently an initiative going on to update the data in South America. And we have not updated it, but we need to. So it's we just need to make a decision when we do it. It's a pretty big deal, right? We have to run building detection everywhere, right? Which is a computationally interesting thing that we need to do. But we know we're going to do it.
他们现在已经有了一批新的南美的地图数据，但是还没更新。
One step at a time, right? Like I certainly have hopes and dreams of direct integration into OSM, blah blah blah. Like I think there's a cool tool that I could see.
OSM 是啥玩意儿
？First, and that's the aircraft, the scenery gateway for the airports. That's the most important thing first, and then after that we can do great things together with the OSM community.
Yeah. Augie's asking, are there more complex planes coming to Xbox soon?
From us or from in general?
Maybe in general from us, or I don't know if you're asking about third-party planes.
I mean, third-party planes, I think at the very beginning, somebody was asking, is the Concorde coming to Xbox? The answer is, I don't know, because so what happens is I can't wait for that plane, by the way. DC design looks super cool. But we don't have the package yet. So it comes down to what they got up and running, and then once we see the package, we test it.
And we've got to be honest here, not having the WASM working on Xbox doesn't help also.
Yeah, people who have legacy code, that's mostly like new planes. I mean, I think there are plenty of cool planes being made. The new ones don't have legacy C++ code, and they are completely fine. It's the people that have a few 100,000 lines of code that they.
这是继续回到刚才说的那个 Xbox 上那个问题。其实核心的这个技术难点是，如果你的飞机有很多老代码。就是 C++ 老代码，比如说一些老团队拿了，比如就是点名不点名就是 PMDG， 然后得打成 WebAssembly 的包。当然现在 Xbox 那边有问题，根儿在这儿。但如果你是新开发的飞机，是没这个问题。
On Xbox, it's nothing to do with performance, right? It's really a security issue.
Yep. Perfect. Speaking of, I know this is also on our feedback snapshot. Is there any progress on the investigation about making it possible to improve performance? And improve premium and premium deluxe aircraft with mods?
Yes, so we talked about it. The SDK team has a solution, and it is currently now sitting with a few aircraft manufacturers. Because as you know, we basically license aircraft, and they
现在在问的是典藏版飞机能不能用 mod 去改。
aircraft model.
这个根儿是那个典藏版飞机跟飞机制造商的合约签的比较紧，所以可能开不了。但是他们正在努力。
Awesome, great, thank you for the update on that. All right, so we spoke about Maverick briefly. Someone asked if there's any content tease or any update we have for Maverick.
The team is having fun. I'm so sorry. I mean, it's a movie thing, right? Like there's things we're currently working on the trailer, and we're not even allowed to put everything in the trailer that we're making. So like, we are very limited in what we can publicly say outside of people having fun.
壮志凌云那个包里有啥，现在还没法说，只能等电影上映。
I would say, so Seb was talking about the pilot we had in the studio here, and I've seen him flying the content that we are going to offer in Maverick, and it was super impressive. super impressive to see how this guy was dealing with the planes and the missions. It was super cool. Super.
So excited. Can't wait for that.
I mean, the one thing I want to say, just to set expectations, I think I might have
Yes.
said it to you guys, but it is a sim. We're not
Right.
making a game here. This is not some sort of gamey arcadey thing. This is not what we're doing. So just expect us to stay true to the core of our simulation.
I'm sure we all appreciate hearing that.
第二个
so
又
that's
再次强调，这是模拟，不是游戏。
And one last question: do you know the airports coming with the World Update 8 release tomorrow?
I do.
今天会更新的机场是啥？
I mean, I would say somebody was asking a question like a few pages ago
Yeah.
about I think it was Vasa Airport that was part of Sim Update 5, World Update 5.
Mhm.
Gaia did the fix. We're currently testing it, so it's coming. Now, it's
Oh, nice.
just be assured that we always are reading all the feedback, and we are. Sometimes it's not instantaneous or anything, but we are getting these things fixed.
Yeah,
So it's basically the airports are Andorra, and then Pico and Faro in Portugal, and A Coruña in Spain.
刚才是几个今天会更新的机场。
All right, we only have a minute left. Was there any other questions that any of you saw that you wanted to answer real quick? Or if not,
一个多小
we'll
时
have
了
some
已经。
closing thoughts and get out of here.
I'm looking. I want everybody to walk away feeling like we actually listened and answered. Right? So I'm just like, did we miss anything? I mean, so VR. Some people keep asking what VR. We did talk about it. So just know that we're not ignoring you.
中文4月底。
Weather,
See,
still
weather.
a work in progress.
Yeah.
So we're working on that. We know that it will be a work in progress.
科明俊德那个现在本来就是流传书了，
New things, new data, new graphic improvement.
你可以尝试把游戏里的那个变形地图关掉，然后你再看看游戏啥样的，差太远了。
This session, no.
Did we do it last time?
We had kind of a whole Q&A session about weather. We did talk about clouds a lot.
As long as we showed the progress, because
啊，对 ，DLSS 上次说今天会有，怎么这现在还没说？
Marcel, this is Sim Update 9.
It's some part of them, yes.
Yeah. Anyways, so let's see here. Yeah, well, we can keep going.
There's a lot of questions about like DirectX 12, DLSS, ray tracing. So
God, DLSS 啊
I've seen great prototypes internally, and we're working on it. It's going to come at some point. So it's being worked on. It's cool. So
结果信息就是在做了点 GPG。
So we've had the replay kind of beta out for a while. The question is, how's feedback been on it, and do you already know like what types of improvements you want to make it more user friendly?
I think it was very little feedback.
官方的 replay 模式。
So honestly, I would appreciate more feedback, because we said, hey, this is a beta, let us know. And then people said, hey, it needs to work on Xbox. Yeah, we know. But like even on PC, just please let us know what you think. It's super helpful. I mean, ultimately these tools we're making.
新建文件加点 PNG。
Video team, but it's really good to know what is good for y'all.
那是小岛秀夫干的事情。
Will there be a Sim Update 9 beta?
Yes.
Yes.
下次系统更新还会有测试版，
Announcement on when that's coming.
这个估计已经现在是一个例行工作了。我估计目前时间来看，
It should be soon. We've got to.
4月4号那一周应该会测试版了吧？估计。
Publish the world update first.
Yeah.
So everything's ready, and I'm not going to go too deeply in the explanation, but it's like a trend, and we need the next wagon to be the trade station before we can put the other one.
石导，你这么一说，想起这小岛秀夫今年好像真干了一个这个事儿，推特上发了个图，新建了个文件夹，想起来了。
Yes.
There's one more slide. It's important to me.
Oh.
Oh.
It's important to me. So
it,
last time I was thinking about when do we talk about this, or how do we talk about this? I didn't want to talk about it at the beginning because it sort of sets a somber tone, but I wanted to follow up on. Do you want to show this, Jane?
Absolutely. Yep. I'm switching screens now.
I wanted
Here
to
it
talk to
is.
you about the Ukraine. So I think many of you, maybe all of you, we've been saddened.
官方的募款这个募捐途径。
We feel compelled to help to those impacted, and we are running a charitable campaign from March 24th to the 31st.
这是
And we will donate $5.
3月24号到3月31号期间内，游戏内市场
to help fund their response in the crisis, so that
游戏内市场每卖一个东西都会捐5美元，
starting tomorrow, if you buy anything in the sim,
是捐给 IRC International Rescue Committee
Yes, thank you.
国际救援委员会，捐给那个组织。
Along with this tomorrow, just for more information. But appreciate you creating that slide and doing this work.
it's mostly Julie on our team who did all the work, but I'm very, 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 very happy that we can do this.
Absolutely. All right, thank you so much, Jorg, Seb, and Marcial, for coming on the stream today and answering a ton of questions and talking about what's going on.
但如果你不喜欢的话，那一周你可以什么都不买。
We hope we got through most of your questions, but if not, we'll continue.
钱包由你自己决定。
And try to answer more for the next Q&A. Any final words any of you would like to say before we close out?
Thank you for everything. And I think you said it, Jane. It's actually sort of on my heart. I know how many people came in who've never played a sim before. Help them out. You know, those are people just entering our hobby.
Yes.
Be nice, answer questions if you can, you know. I think it'll help our hobby long term. Like it's what
那些钱是捐给那个叫 IRS International Rescue Committee 国际救援委员会，捐给那个组织。
And I think we have that right now. There's many, many, many that are coming.
Yeah. Thank you, Jorg. All right, chat, we will see you here a little bit later today. We have a flying lesson with Forder Learn to Fly, where we're going to practice some slow flight. So check that out in a couple hours. And until then, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you later.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
官方直播结束。